The character of Angela has been owned by both Image and Marvel, so her origin is different in each company. In Image, Angela's first appearance was in Spawn number 9. She is an angel from heaven who's a bounty hunter sent to hunt down demons from hell. She has hunted Hellspawns, generals of Hell's armies, throughout history. But when she meets the Al Simmons Hellspawn, she realizes that her narrow view of good and evil is not as simple as she once thought. She befriends Al and often teams up with him to fight the forces of evil on Earth, Heaven, and Hell. In the 100th issue of Spawn, Angela and Spawn finally defeat Malbolgia, but at the cost of Angela's life. She made her first appearance in Marvel Comics in Age of Ultron number 10. In Marvel, she was the firstborn of Odin and Freya. During a war between Asgard and Heaven, the Queen of the Angels kidnapped Angela to force Odin to surrender. Odin refused, and the Queen of the Angels made it appear as if she killed Angela, and in anger, Odin tore the realm of heaven from the World Tree and sealed it off from the other 9 realms. After Ultron was defeated, the time-space continuum was broken, and this brought Angela back into the 9 realms. In other media, Angela made an Easter egg cameo visual appearance in the Spawn movie. She didn't say or do anything, she was just there. She also appeared in Spawn the animated series and in the Guardians of the Galaxy animated series. In both versions of the character, Angela is a skilled fighter and cunning warrior. For Angela's packaging, in the front at the top is the Marvel Legends series logo. At the bottom is the Guardians of the Galaxy logo and her name, Marvel's Angela. At the top left, it names the Build-A-Figure Titus. On the side is artwork of Angela, and on the other side is the same artwork. On the bottom is legal text. On the top is the Guardians of the Galaxy logo. And turning around to the back, at the top left is the Marvel Legends logo. In the middle is a nice photo of the Angela figure. At the top right is a bio in multiple languages. The English one reads, "A master of hand-to-hand combat, Angela is known throughout the galaxy for her battle prowess." Frankly, not much of a bio. At the bottom left is a photo of the Build-A-Figure Titus. On the right is the other figures in the wave, the movie Drax and Yondu, comic book Vance Astro, Angela herself, Darkhawk and Kid Nova, and movie Star-Lord. Now let's free Angela from her plastic prison. Angela is a very well sculpted figure. I believe the majority of the sculpt is brand new. I can't think of any reused parts from a previous figure. Her head sculpt looks great. I like the dynamic wind-blown hair. I like the outline of her eyes are sculpted. I like the tiara headpiece, although mine is warped on one side. Taking a look at her scarf, you can see that there are tiny little X's and circles sculpted on it, which is a nice touch. It's worth noting that it is removable. Simply pop off her head and take it off, and you can get a better look at the scarf. I really like the armor on her arms. Both sides are very detailed, and each side has their own unique sculpt. Her breastplate is well sculpted and detailed, and it has a very similar design to her early Spawn costume. Speaking of her early Spawn costume, she always had this oversized belt, and I'm glad to see it back in this version, and it's worth noting that it is a separate piece from the figure and can be moved around to make room for the articulation. One minor complaint I have is that she has these 2 bands on her upper thigh, and they don't seem to serve any purpose. They are just there. I really like her armored boots. They are very unique and they are sculpted well. So overall, I'm very impressed with Angela's sculpt. Hasbro put a lot of work into this figure's sculpt. The paint on this figure is really well done. For her head, I especially like the markings around her eyes. They kind of look like two red lightning bolts around her eyes and down her face. Her scarf is molded in this goldish color and is unpainted. I wish it had more of the purple and red of the comic. On her arm, she has a nice glossy red on her gauntlet that's also on the other arm. It sticks out amongst the matte purple gloves and the gold and silver armor. There is more purple on her shorts and the bands on her thigh. She has a white skirt, brown on her belt and sheath, and even gold on her sheath. A lot of this figure has this gold color, which is actually more of a butterscotch color, which I wish was more of a gold, but it's not bad. So there is very few, if any, paint imperfections on my particular figure. Overall, the paint is very well done. For articulation, Angela's head goes up, hindered by her hair, and goes down quite a bit because of the neck hinge. It has a good amount of tilt from side to side, and even though restricted by the hair, her head still goes all the way around. For her arm at the shoulder, it goes up, hindered by her armor, and it goes down and it swivels all the way around. She has a single hinge elbow that bends in and also swivels all the way around. Her wrist swivels and goes all the way around. Her left hand has a hinge that goes up and down, and her right hand has a hinge that goes in and out. Her upper torso hinge bends forward and back and swivels all the way around, and it tilts from side to side. Her leg hinges out at the hip and in, forward and back, swivels at the upper thigh and goes all the way around, double jointed knee that bends in pretty far, a foot hinge that bends up and down, an ankle hinge that pivots back and forth, so she does have good articulation. Angela's first accessory is her sword. It seems to be molded in this goldish plastic with the blade painted silver. The hilt is well sculpted and detailed. It's made of a somewhat soft plastic, so mine is kind of warped. The sword can fit nicely in her right hand, although slightly loose. It also fits nicely in her left hand. Angela can also hold the sword with two hands at the same time. The sword can also be stored in the sheath on the back of her belt, and it fits nice and tightly and won't fall out. Her next accessories are these two twin axe-like weapons. They seem to be molded in the same gold-like colored plastic as her sword, and the handles are painted in a brownish gray, and they are sculpted and detailed well. Although the blade is kind of strange looking, the axes can fit well in her right hand, although they are a bit loose. They can fit nicely in her left hand as well, and she can be posed with both axes in both of her hands simultaneously, and they look very nice. For scale, Angela stands at about 7 inches tall, and she has peg holes at the bottom of her feet. Here is Angela next to the most current version of Spawn, and I think this works well. Angela is a tiny bit tall, but it still works. Here's Angela next to the very first vintage Angela figure from McFarlane Toys. Technically, this is the variant with alternate colors. Also, mine is missing her shoulder pads, but you get the idea. You can see the similarity in the design as well as the updated proportions and articulation. Here is Angela next to some of the taller Marvel Legends female comic book characters, Thundra and Valkyrie. And as you can see, Angela is on the tall side, but she's not the tallest. And in the Marvel universe, Angela is supposed to be an Asgardian, so it works well. Here is Angela next to more average size Marvel Legends female comic book characters, Invisible Woman and Rogue. Yet again, it works in my opinion. Here is Angela next to some mythological DC Universe classic types figures, Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman. This works for Wonder Woman, but not Captain Marvel. In my opinion, Captain Marvel should be taller than Angela, so Angela may not work with your DC Universe classic figures. Here is Angela next to similar barbarian warriors like He-Man and Teela. While Angela is a bit tall, I still think she works with fantasy characters of this scale. Here are a couple of male comic book Marvel Legends, Captain America and Spider-Man. I think it works with Spider-Man since he's not known for being a tall guy, but it really doesn't work with Cap in my opinion. But once you get them posed around and work with the perspective, you might get it to work. Here she is with movie versions of her brother Thor and Star-Lord. Unfortunately, I don't have a comic book Thor to compare her to, but if he's as tall as this movie Thor, it will definitely work. So overall, while the scale is not the best, for the most part it works with Angela and other 6-inch scale figures. So overall, I like this Angela figure. She has an excellent sculpt, great articulation, good paint, nice accessories. She fits in well with other figures from different lines like this Spawn here. So my final grade for this Angela is an A. What do you think of this figure? I'm Tony Beers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This video is sponsored by the Crazy Kings of Toys. Check them out for all your toy needs and find out why they are so crazy. Find them on eBay, Bricklink, and Facebook. Links are in the description. For more Toxic Pop, visit our website at toxicpop1.wixsite.com/toxicpop. Email us at toxicpop1@gmail.com and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/toxicpop1 and Instagram at instagram.com/wearetoxicpop. Links are in the description.